Welcome to our coffee break series on cities and climate action. We are speaking with a variety of elected representatives from cities around the world to gain insights and inspiration on how cities are responding to climate change. Coffee Break with Cities.
Great to have you here. Can you just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Well, I'm Amanda Stone. I'm a councillor at the City of Yarra and I've been on the council for 14 years nearly, twice as mayor.
Okay, so you've got a few stories to tell then.
I do.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the City of Yarra and how it's working with the issue of climate change?
It's been a city that's been leading out in front on climate action for a very long time. One of the reasons I was attracted to being a councillor, I was actually a member of one of the advisory committees, the Environment Advisory Committee, before I became a councillor and learned about the work of ICLEI through that actually. So they have been leading the way for a long time. One of the things that we've done more recently, when we've always had climate action plans, has been to declare a climate emergency and develop a climate emergency plan. And that involves the cooperation of Yarra Energy Foundation, which is an independent entity set up by the council 14 years ago, to drive community emission reductions, while the organisation itself has done its own thing. It's been carbon neutral for 10 years now, the first Victorian, second Australian council to be carbon neutral in its operations. But now we're really focused on the community. And that's what our climate emergency plan is directed at.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's a lot of activity obviously in the City of Yarra. Is there any other kind of specific initiative at the City of Yarra around climate change that you'd like to highlight?
We've done a lot of things in partnerships with other entities. One of the big things that we did do about 5-6 years ago was join with Melbourne Renewable Energy Project. That was a consortium of a number of councils and businesses, universities, other entities who got together to commission the supply of renewable energy. We of course were carbon neutral already, but part of that was achieved through offsets, and we didn't want to get away from that. So on the basis of the 10 entities going out to tender for some kind of renewable energy, the successful bidder constructed a new wind farm just on the basis of our business. So we guaranteed them 10 years, a 10-year deal, 10 years of customers, and they locked in a 10-year price for us, and that was at a time where firstly the sector needed stimulating, it was lagging, and secondly energy prices were fluctuating wildly, so it was a real win-win. Very hard to do, very hard technically to pull together a deal like that, but it's become the basis of a huge power purchase agreement by most other Victorian councils who've gone on to use it as a model. So it really kick-started a whole new wave in local government, and I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah, on the topic of collaborations, are there other types of organisations or groups that you're really focusing on to collaborate with when we talk about climate change?
One of the great things about COVID is that we have a state government that has tried to stimulate economic recovery by putting a lot of money into renewables and climate action. And the Yarra Energy Foundation, which is an entity of Yarra Council, has received funding for a community energy power hub, which its role is to actually bring together all the smaller groups and organisations that are involved in energy and climate action, and to harness their skills, knowledge and expertise, but also share it more broadly. So that hub is pulling together lots and lots of activist groups, not-for-profits, even statutory bodies. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I mean this work around collaboration is so vital to kind of working on climate change and so on. A fun question, is there another city around the world that inspires you in relation to climate action, and why?
That's a hard question, because this whole Congress is talking about people-centredness and the whole need to and social justice, but the whole need to think about the people that we're serving, I guess, in local government with developing climate action initiatives. So a city like the one we are, Malmo, at the moment, where everything seems to be walkable, rideable, there's electric buses everywhere, there's very little traffic congestion. We're really, in Melbourne especially, trying to localise everything. 10-minute, 20-minute neighbourhoods. There's been this big turn back to the neighbourhood during COVID and lockdowns, and a rediscovering of the local and the joys and the benefits of that, and the sustainability that's embedded in that, in not having to go far and sourcing everything you need. So a city that's good for people and the planet is pretty inspiring.
No, look, I mean, on that note, I mean, in terms of like support for cities and their work on climate change, if there was a policymaker, a national policymaker sitting in here, I mean, what kind of support would you ask for from such a person?
Well, coming from Australia, where we have no national climate action plan, no energy policy to speak of, and we have signed the Paris Agreement, which commits to multi-level governance and multi-level action on climate change. Local government needs a seat at the table of that. ICLEI commissioned a report last year which showed that if the Australian local governments who have ambitious climate targets were assisted to achieve them, we would basically achieve the national government's admittedly small 28% reduction by 2030 target for them. We just need the funding and policy coherence and regulatory coherence too, because they're all in conflict with each other. We could be wonderful partners in delivering any national emissions reduction target. We just want to partner with them, and we need financial and regulatory support to do it. That's our ask, and we've delivered that. We delivered that at COP last year.
On that final point, thank you so much for the insights. Great to have you here.
It's a great pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. If you are interested in more details, please find the link below. Coffee Break with Cities. Conversations on climate action with elected representatives from cities around the world.